Hey everybody, Chrissy here today, and I created these cards using the new clear toner sheets. So here's an example of one, and that's a clear toner sheet along with some transfer gel. So I'm going to show you how to do it. I have that cute little Brutus Monroe stencil, and now I'm going to use my amazing purple tape, and I'm going to attach it on the back. You can attach it any which way you want. Just make sure you do it so the tape does not cover up your stencil, because when you add the transfer gel, that tape will mask off the area. So your gel will not get through if your tape is on there. So I'm just putting a thin layer on there. I wanted it to dry kind of fast. I'd say without the help of a heat gun, which really doesn't work the greatest, it can bubble it a little bit. It takes maybe about 45 minutes with a thin layer to dry. When it's totally dry, it's 100% clear. However, if there's a little bit of opacity, it seems like it doesn't affect it. So as long as it's mostly dry, you're good to go. I'd say I waited maybe about a half an hour, and I did use my heat gun a little bit just to speed it up for the filming of this video. But ideally, if you can let it dry an hour or even overnight, that is probably your best option. So the next thing I did while I was waiting for that to dry and while I was killing time is I stamped a couple of these cute little houses. That's also from a Brutus Monroe stamp set. And then I colored them in. I am using some watercolor markers. These are Aqua markers. And you can color them direct. You can use them like a regular marker. You can use a paintbrush and water. I prefer to use a water brush. I feel like I have a lot of control with the water brush because I can kind of adjust the amount of water I'm squeezing through the barrel. And then I use just a regular old acrylic ink block as my painting palette. You could use anything that's got a slick surface. I have actually, in the past, in a pinch, use the back side of like the release side of my foil. So, you know, when you foil something and you have that extra left over where there's no more foil, like if I foil an entire sheet of like the peel and stick toner where then it's pretty much all clear and all the foil is gone, you can actually use that as your palette because it's slick enough. So I have flipped that over and used the back side just in case there's like foil remnants left over on the front, and then that actually becomes my ink palette. And if it gets really messy and stuff, it's super easy. There's no cleanup, you just throw it away. Where this, I spray with water, and then I have to clean up with the paper towel every time I have too many colors on here, because if not, they can get contaminated. With that, it's just kind of like one and done, disposable. Probably great to take if you're going to go to like a crop or anything like that. So that's another use for your extra transfer sheets from your Deco Foil to hang on to them. As you probably know too, when you do stencil, and I'll show you in a little bit in this video, the reverse that you have left, you can take that and reuse it again in the future. So save all of your scraps. So you can see I colored in the one house and I'm doing the other. Kind of what I do is I put just a wash of color, the light color over it, and then I come in with the dark where the shadows are going to be, and then I just kind of keep blending it all together. You obviously don't have to use any type of watercolor markers for this. You can use colored pencils, you can use regular markers, sparkle markers, whatever floats your boat. I stuck with these colors because what I did is basically tried to match my markers to the Deco Foil that I was going to be using. So that's why I picked like an aqua and a red, because I knew that I was going to pick those two colors for the background of my card on the toner sheet. So now these are both dry. And you can see there's a little bit of the opacity on the one that we just did, but like I said, it came out okay. Sticking it in parchment paper with some cardstock, then putting that down with the foil on top of it, and I'm running it through my laminator. I have it on the hot, do not use cold, it won't work. And I have it on 5 mil, but 3 mil seems to work fine as well. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and trim these out while that is running through my laminator. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of color to my front card panel. So that's just a piece cut to 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm just adding a little bit of ink on the top, kind of like, I guess, emulating like maybe a sunset or something. And then I'm just going to put some 3D foam squares on here. You can use strips, or you can cut the foam, the large sheets of foam, to match the card if you need to. So this is what I was talking about. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to foil this next one, the red, and you can see I'm going to peel this off. How beautiful that looks. And then that extra piece, that right there, keep it. You see I threw it aside? I have a little pile of foil. You can put that on a clear toner sheet and reuse it again. It's kind of like over and over again. You can keep reusing and reusing. So I just added a little bit of adhesive to the back there. It doesn't show through, so you're pretty good, especially because we're putting it on a light piece of cardstock. I don't see the adhesive whatsoever after it's adhered. So now I'm going to stamp a couple sentiments. These were just kind of sweet little sentiments. At first I was going to kind of do like moving in cards, and then I thought, I don't know if I'd actually need those that much. So I decided instead to do kind of like miss you, thinking of you type of a thing for my friends that live, my crafty friends that live out of state. So I can use these and send them, and who doesn't love getting a handmade card in the mail, right? So now I'm just going to assemble, and I'm just using my XL runner. Adheres perfectly to both sides of that clear toner sheet. So I know you see the clear toner sheet and you automatically think shaker card and that's the only thing you can use it for, but that is not true. You can just go ahead and adhere it on any type of cardstock, and I think it looks fantastic. That other stencil, the dotted one, that is also Brutus Monroe. I just love the way that it looks. I think it's just so much fun. So thanks so much for stopping by today. Make sure to use hashtags ThermoWeb and Deco Foil so we can find you on the web. Have a great day. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.